Hello there. You're probably wondering why I'm showing you this sign. Well, I do shopping online like a lot of us do, and one day my bank calls me and says, in an official way, "What's the last four of your social?" And that raised a big red flag to me, so I hung up on them, because I know that a bank will either have you come in or they will send you a letter telling you to call them about a matter. And that's the proper, safe way for the bank to cover their butts. Okay. A couple days after that, I get a call from my bank, and they said that they spotted 6 different charges that were odd. The charges ranged from Nordstrom's in New York to an airport parking venue where you can buy credits, a rental car agency, charity, and all these were denied. Luckily for me, my bank caught it. So the bank, after talking to me, canceled the card and issued me a new one. Okay. Inconvenience for me. Luckily they didn't get any money, right? Well, I wanted to go after them because I contacted Nordstrom's, and the security officer there said that they have the internet presence address, the IP address of the person that tried to use it, the name and address of the person that tried to use it, so on and so forth, all the relevant information. Nordstrom's was willing to give that to the police. Okay, next step, call the police. Work my way up to a detective that finally called me back, and we discussed this for about 40 minutes, and he told me some stories, and after I told him the entire situation that I was experiencing, and it all comes down to these signs. What's going on is the scammers who somehow intercept your credit card numbers, they put these signs out. Now, if you had a legitimate business, wouldn't you go to Craigslist, the newspaper, the Penny Saver, and put an ad out with your address on it and say, stop in and fill out an application? Okay, so these kinds of signs should raise a red flag right away. I just found this, lo and behold, found it in my yard. I heard the street sweeper coming by. It's about 2 a.m. and I looked out just for the heck of it, and this was in my yard. I couldn't believe it. So of course I went and grabbed it, and it's nice corrugated plastic. No costs were spared. It's from a print shop. This wasn't cheap to make. Okay, how this sign correlates with what the detective told me. Okay, he basically talked me out of going after this and pursuing it further, because the people that are taking your credit card numbers and ordering stuff and having it shipped to an address are very savvy. Okay, I'll give them that. They know what they're doing. Once I call this number, they're going to ask me to receive packages. I'm going to receive packages, not open them, and redirect them. Okay, that's how they're saying I can make $600 to $1,000 paycheck weekly by being a remailer. Okay. Also, I think it's called a drop. So they put these signs up all over the U.S. They get dupes that actually call this number and start working for them. Now the scammer goes to Nordstrom's, orders up $1,000 worth of stuff, and has it delivered to one of the innocent people trying to make a little money. Okay. So what they do is they have the order from Nordstrom's shipped to drop 1, have that shipped to drop 2, have that shipped to drop 3, now you've got 3 jurisdictions involved that aren't going to follow up with this. But then once it hits like the 3rd or 4th drop, then it's shipped overseas. And that address is a vacant lot, an abandoned building, a foreclosed building, something where nobody is in and out of there on a daily basis. So you or I could be sitting in Vietnam across from a foreclosed property that's collecting dust, and we use Google Voice, and I just called this number, and it's all through Google anonymous phones. So we're sitting in Vietnam, and there's a vacant building across from us, and we're the scammers. And we sit there and we wait for the delivery. Okay, so now after it went from Nordstrom's to drop overseas to the foreclosed building, we walk across the street, pick up the package, and walk home. Now think of all the jurisdictions it would take to track that. It would take where it originated, so Nordstrom's of New York, and then the 3 drops. You'd have to have all 3 of those jurisdictions involved and on board, and a detective in Vietnam that's going to sit there and watch the building that it's going to. It logistically, it just doesn't equate to being worth it. That's why our credit cards are insured somewhat, and they're taking this sort of stuff more seriously. This stuff, this sign. So, my advice to you is anytime you see one of these corrugated plastic, cardboard, whatever, one of these signs like this at a red light, or in your yard, or in your neighbor's yard, or anywhere, take the time to pull over and yank it. Because what you're doing is you're breaking that chain. If they don't have droppers to ship to, their scam isn't going to work. Okay? So tomorrow I'm going to drive around a little bit and look for these, because I know they were in the area. They left one in my yard, and I'm going to pick them up and collect them. And like I said, it's really nice corrugated plastic, you know, nice and tough. It'll withstand wind and everything. So it's not just a cheapy sign that was made in 10 minutes with spray paint, you know. Pick them up, take them home. Well, I'm going to use this for shipping material. It'll be great for inserting with fragile paper mail that I don't want bent in the mail. I can just cut a little chunk of that, slip it in with whatever, and I can be sure that that envelope won't bend. So anyway, repurpose the plastic, and realize that you're doing society a favor by taking that sign. You're not stealing it. They don't ask permission to put it there. They don't put their name anywhere on it. Just an anonymous phone number. So my only way to combat this is to make this video. Hopefully you learned something and will take action. It's a battle, and this is where it starts, is where they're recruiting people. I plan on calling this number and flooding it to the point where they disconnect it. You know, I had that issue with mine being stolen, my numbers being stolen and attempted to be used, and then the bank, to safeguard me, what do? They cancel my card. Okay, and they'll send me a new one with a new number. That's great. But guess what? Now I don't have digital money. I don't have my debit card to use. So it was a major inconvenience. So once again, if you see these signs, take the time, yank them, pitch them, save them for packing material, whatever. Get the number. Call them and harass them. Okay? The police can't take the resources and go after these people, but collectively, as a society, we can. So, just wanted to give you my 2 cents on this. And don't think that you're stealing these, because, like I said, nobody's asking permission to put these in my yard or anywhere, and on a telephone pole is illegal. And you can see that their name is nowhere on it. You know, if found, please send to type of thing. You know, they're just whipping them out in the wind, hoping for the best, trying to get some drops, some reshippers. All right, I'm getting long-winded. Thanks for listening, and yeah, show me a photo or leave me a comment on how many of these you find and pick up. It's going to make a difference. Even if we prevent one person from signing up to do this, it's a dent, and a lot of dents helps. All right, thank you, and be sure to subscribe to my channel and take a look around. There's some interesting stuff on there. Thanks, and see you later.